Good Friday morning to you all. Hopefully you guys are doing great. We got another Watchmen update. We got some big news out there. A Boeing 757 making an emergency landing after catching fire. We got Uganda agreeing to take third-party deportees from the United States, non-criminal. And we got El Salvador and Panama agreeing to take criminal deportees. We got Japanese rice prices exploding out there. We got burning. The American flag may become might just land you in jail if you do that in the U.S. soon. And Israel launches a major ground offensive in Gaza that we need to talk about. And a ceasefire there does seem to be dead in the water. We got that, plus a lot of other updates and news items to get to. Let's get you caught up and ahead of the curve. Let's get into it. Welcome to the Poplar Report. I'm Steve Poplar. I'm an accountant by trade, and these are your updates that you guys are sending in from all over. If you have something to share, make sure you use the word update somewhere in your comment. That does get it to the right place. We do want to thank our sponsor, Genesis Gold Group. Right now, they are giving out copies of their book, Gold and the Bible. Talks about what the Bible teaches about fair money, honest and just measurements, and how that relates to what's happening currently in the financial system, how dishonest the current financial system is, and how you can protect yourself and your family. If you'd like to get a copy of that book, there'll be a link at the end of the video. And let's get in here with starting off with this aircraft, the Boeing 757 aircraft headed to Germany. Made an emergency landing in Italy. It was leaving from Greece after flames coming out of an engine mid-flight. So the engines are sort of on fire, but they're not supposed to be like totally on fire, and that's what happened. The airline was Condor Air, so now no injuries were reported. They were able to make a safe landing, but it sure gave people quite a scare. There were videos of it from people on the ground, seeing the airplane coming in for a landing with one of its engines on fire. All right, Secretary of State Marco Rubio saying effective immediately, the United States is pausing all issuance of worker visas for commercial truck drivers. So he continued and said, the increasing number of foreign drivers operating large tractor-trailer trucks on U.S. roads is endangering American lives and undercutting the livelihoods of American truckers. Now, this is from Secretary of State Marco Rubio, quite possibly the most successful Secretary of State the United States has ever had. Remember back when they were making TV shows and everything because Hillary Clinton was Secretary of State, and they were trying to tell us how that is like the most difficult job in the world. Marco Rubio, being a guy, does it, and nobody seems to care at all whatsoever, but Hillary Clinton was a woman. She was doing the hardest job there is in the entire world. Well, Marco Rubio is doing a fantastic job, I think. If you think so too, he's brokered, 7 peace deals so far? That's kind of a lot for the first 6 months of a presidency. And then all these tariffs and the trade negotiations ongoing. He's doing a bang-up job, that's for sure. All right, Japan's rice prices have surged 90.7%. Just year over year, from this July to last July, their rice prices are up basically double what they were. That's absolutely crazy. Now, they're still refusing to import rice without massive tariffs it's not just the United States tariffing people. Honestly, it's all these other countries tariffing everything coming from the United States and from elsewhere. And the United States is just starting to reciprocate what other countries are doing to the U.S. Japan is refusing to import rice, even though their rice prices are crazy. The United States produces actually quite a bit of rice. Now, the Japanese will say it's not good enough rice, but they're not really given the freedom to choose for themselves, are they? The United States and the European Union have spelled out the tariffs from the trade deal that has been negotiated between the United States and the European Union. This deal covers autos, pharmaceuticals, semiconductor chips, and lumber, and a whole lot more. The European car and pharmaceutical exports to the United States will be subjected to a 15% tariff rate. Somehow they got Europe to agree to that. A joint U.S. and European Union statement detailed all of the different rates. The United States will retain a 50% tariff on European Union steel and aluminum because they're subsidizing their aluminum and steel and dumping it in the United States, and we're kind of tired of that. 0 for 0 tariffs on a number of agricultural products, aircraft component parts, and certain chemical parts. These are things that are moving back and forth across the ocean. The European Union builds aircraft with Airbus. The United States builds aircraft with Boeing, and some of those parts do come from each other's countries, so they need to make sure that's still okay. Aircraft exports are temporarily exempt from tariffs pending the outcome of a United States investigation on whether or not the European Union is unfairly doing trade. All right, Uganda. Uganda has agreed to a deal with the United States to take deported migrants if they don't have criminal records. Uganda has entered into this agreement to take in nationals from third countries, so they don't have to be like a citizen of Uganda. Like if they're a citizen from Kazakhstan, and Kazakhstan's like, we don't want them back, as long as they're not, criminal, they haven't been charged and convicted of a crime in the United States, they might get deported to Uganda. So that's an interesting twist. Now, for criminal migrants, we already have 2 locations that we can send them to. We can either, aside from Guantanamo Bay, which we could do that too, but we can send them to El Salvador to go to prison there, or we can send them to Panama. Now, Panama is a little bit more temporary, but they have a jungle facility there that's right on the Darien Gap, where they're, it's kind of like jungle Alcatraz instead of alligator Alcatraz. It's just nowhere to go, right? It's a temporary arrangement with conditions that the individuals will not have criminal records and that they are not unaccompanied minors. President Trump cracking down on burning of the American flag. He's about to issue an executive order on this. We're not sure exactly what that's going to entail, but he's told us that that's coming. President Trump also plans to seek to criminalize certain actions related to burning the flag. So this would direct Attorney General Pam Bondi to review cases where someone burned an American flag and determine whether charges can be brought under existing laws for such things as public nuisance or disorderly conduct or potential environmental violations. How about them apples? Using environmental laws against somebody who burned an American flag, pollution, right? Anyway, Israel has begun airstrikes of Gaza City. This is a serious one out there, and its outskirts. Now, this has happened overnight, and the defense ministry there has approved an expanded offensive to target the remaining Hamas strongholds in the Strip. Gaza City is the biggest city in the Gaza Strip, and it is definitely an urban location that the Israeli Defense Forces have previously kind of skirted the edges of, and they really haven't tried to go downtown so much. This is a whole new operation, and because of that, they have authorized the calling up of 60,000 reservists. Now, Israel is planning on taking Gaza City and is planning on occupying Gaza City permanently. It will be just annexed to Israel totally. Now, Hamas was reacting positively to a potential 60-day ceasefire deal, but Israel is now saying that in order to get that 60-day ceasefire deal, every single one of the hostages must be released. that there is not going to be any, steps towards that, a few here, a few there. Hamas has been trickling out the hostages for the past 2 years. Israel is done with that. Some of these people have been away from their families and held in captivity, tortured, and other things for the past 2 years, and that's just unacceptable. And some of these hostages have not survived the horrific conditions that they've been subjected to, and their remains are not being returned. And that is just, how can there be a ceasefire if that's not taken care of? All right, Texan says here in northern Arkansas, the hamburger meat prices have gone up by $2 now. We've been warning you for about a year about the coming beef shortage. Well, it's here, and the prices are starting to reflect that, and it's, from according to the numbers, it's only going to get worse from here. They're hoping that the beef herd will start to rebuild from here. There's enough of a shortage, and the prices are going up fast enough that they think that ranchers are going to start rebuilding their herds. But rebuilding the herd numbers does not affect the availability of beef, right? And young cattle cannot be slaughtered until they get older and more mature. But it's going to take some time to rebuild the herd in the United States and the beef supply. And other countries are hurting too. So beef across the world is going to be going up in price significantly. SDB says Mishawaka, Indiana. Electric service here is having issues with lots of flickering and dimming of lights. Thought it was happening just at certain times, but now I've noticed that it's happening all the time. Again, if you're seeing flickering of lights, make sure that it's not just you. A lot of times that's your house electricity. You have a short in your house potentially, or there's something wrong with your wiring. Check to see if your neighbors are experiencing the same thing before you assume that it's just the power company, okay? There may be a dangerous situation in your home that you need to address. Please do check with your neighbors, see if they're seeing it too. If they are, then okay, maybe it's the power company. If it's not, then you need to get an electrician to look it over, right? If you can't figure it out yourself. All right, Joan says, Western North Carolina, Smokies here, has had no birds since June. None. No birds. Only 2 butterflies and just passing through. 1 bee that returns 2 weeks at a time. Plenty of tomatoes have been growing since mid-May, but only 1 has turned red. The rest I brought in on newspaper to my pantry for ripening. Why? Since late June, we have been inundated with light and heavy rain daily. If we're lucky enough to see the sun at all, it's only for 2 or 4 hours. As with everything else, no bugs on the windshield and only ladybugs in my garden with hundreds of aphids. For 2.5 months, my driveway has been waiting to be redone, but they can't do it because of the daily rain. It's affecting people's paychecks as well as when their livelihoods depend on the weather. Even our grass can't get cut due to the doom and gloom from the skies. Yeah, crazy. Peter says, our province in New Brunswick, up in Canada, right, has the same ban on going out and walking. I don't know how they're going to prove that you're out walking, even owning your own, on your own property. There's people that live off the grid and they're after those people. I'm one of them. They only like solar power and things that like that if it's in their favor. That means you're hooked up to the grid and you're giving more power than you could ever use, or you're not hooked up to the grid at all. So then they penalize you for no insurance and things like that. So yes, it's becoming a pretty big dictatorship there in Canada. Terry says, Shelbyville, Indiana, twice more in 2 months. Aldi has been completely out of milk. I bought peaches there last week, and that looked good on the outside, but were brown and mushy when we cut into them. As for gardening, it really has been a strange year. Less bees I had to hand pollinate my tomatoes. I planted 30 plants and harvested less than what I previously planted with 10. Also for bugs, half my property is woods and it rained so much this summer, I didn't have to water my garden at all. Normally with this much rain, with Indiana humidity, we would have been inundated with mosquitoes. I would normally have a gazillion bites even when spraying myself with off, but I haven't had any bites even when I forgot to spray. It's really been weird. I get changing weather patterns, but I don't know what's up with this. Tinfoil hat warning, did they release modified mosquitoes that somehow killed them off? That's one option there. I mean, we have been doing that down in Florida, right? They have been releasing sterile mosquitoes. We got, is that disrupting the whole ecosystem? I have canned everything I get, but I've had better harvests. Klondike 1 says, Springfield, Missouri, I have parrots and I give the remnants of to the birds outside. I had ravens, blue jays, blue, yellow, and black hat finches, cardinals, and sparrows. I haven't seen a single bird for over a week. Also, I flipped the light on at night. There used to be June bugs, moths, etc. Now I'm lucky to see anything. A lot of reports like that coming in from all over. Steven says, for months now, when I buy 12 packs of Brics root beer, I have been getting some dented, misshapen cans in the carton. Sometimes these cans are empty or have less root beer in them or are not carbonated anymore. If they're not carbonated or the seal has been broken, do not drink it, please. I live in the northwest suburbs of Chicago. I get my groceries from Walmart. I'd like to find out how many other people are experiencing these problems. We've all been seeing problems with this shipping, right? More dented cans, more cans or bottles that have been ruptured. You got to really check those things before you get home because it's gotten a lot worse in these last number of years. Sherry says, Maryland, my large variety of tomatoes are still green. Friends 20 to 30 miles from me are experiencing the same things. My grape tomatoes did not ripen until mid-July. One of my other friends didn't get their first ripe grape or cherry tomatoes until last week. It's crazy. Also, I was visiting another friend about a half an hour north of me. He lives in the country. He doesn't pay any attention to warnings of what's coming, so it surprised me when he asked if I knew about anything about birds or, not coming to feeders. He has 4 of them, 4 feeders, and I can attest that they are usually lots of birds and several varieties. He said the squirrels are gone too. I noticed the squirrels seem to disappear earlier in the summer. So squirrels and birds. So first insects, now squirrels and birds. Like it's starting to get a little apocalyptic, isn't it? They warned us about messing with the ecosystems, and look what they've been doing. And I would not be surprised if this comes back to some sort of chemical has been used as a pesticide or something, and it has blown up in their faces and is destroying the United States ecosystems. It's crazy. Mickey says, I went food shopping this morning at BJ's in Maple Shade, New Jersey, and Walmart in Mount Laurel, New Jersey. All I can say is check the date, condition, and the price of your purchases. I did come across bread at Walmart that was past the expiration date on the shelf to be sold at an unexpired price, and cans that looked like they had lost a fight with a forklift. That's what we got going on out there. All right, friends, thanks so much for joining with us. If you want to get that free book, Gold and the Bible, I know a lot of you guys have already, and you guys have let me know that you really enjoyed it. If you haven't gotten yours free, they are offering them free to this viewers of this channel. If you go through the link, just click on that link, fill out your information. They'll send you the book. If you have any questions, you can ask them about your retirement accounts too if you want, but that's not an obligation there. If you want to check out another video from this channel, there's one right up there. I'll see you over there, or I'll see you guys later. Steve Poplar of the Poplar Report out.